it actually took a very tough beating to get me out of the sport.
By Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. I mean, he beat the hell out of me. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times, and then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
Comeback. He's coming back.
Yeah,
Thank you. For the WBC title at 147.
Thank you so much.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him.
Can he do it?
Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely.
That's a Mexican
Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs
he's a legend, you know.
some nice ones. Thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
He's 46. He hasn't fought in nearly 4 years. His last bout ended in a loss, and now he's stepping back into the ring not for an exhibition, but for a world title fight. On paper, Manny Pacquiao's return makes no sense. But if you've followed boxing long enough, you know Pacquiao was never just a name on paper. He's the storm in the late rounds, the blur of gloves you never see coming, the man who built his legacy not by playing it safe but by defying every expectation the sport had for him. Now he's facing Mario Barrios, 13 years younger, the reigning WBC welterweight champion, and entering the peak of his career. Most fighters would avoid this matchup. Most retired legends wouldn't even think about it. But Pacquiao didn't just agree to it, he wants the belt. So when Oscar de la Hoya said Barrios should think twice, it wasn't trash talk. It was a warning. Because this isn't just a comeback. It's a challenge. And if history's taught us anything, it's this. You don't bet against Pacquiao when he's chasing something. When he announced his return, the reaction wasn't applause, it was disbelief. He hadn't fought since 2021. He was 46, deep into politics, and most assumed his career was finished. Then came the news, July 19th, Las Vegas, WBC welterweight title. No warm-up. No exhibition. Just a straight leap into the fire against a prime champion. For almost 4 years, boxing moved on without him. New contenders rose, belts changed hands, and the sport appeared no press, no pad work, just family, public service, and silence. But behind that silence, he was still watching. And maybe the world mistook that stillness for retirement. Maybe they thought the storm was over. The thing about Pacquiao is, he's never needed the spotlight to sharpen the blade. He never trained for cameras. He trained because movement lives in his blood. Even now, the hands are fast, the eyes still track, and the rhythm still bends expectations. Every now and then, a clip would surface, 15 seconds, no quotes, no music, just Pacquiao, alone, locked in like he never left. And suddenly, fans started asking the question no one wanted to touch: what if he's not done? Then came the first whispers. Whispers that turned into rumors. And finally, confirmation. He wasn't done watching. He was getting ready to fight again. But this fight isn't about nostalgia. It's a final statement. Pacquiao already has more accolades than any active fighter. 8 divisions. Fighter of the decade. And still, he's a fighter. 8 division titles, fighter of the decade, and a Hall of Fame career secured long before he hung up the gloves. And still, he's putting everything back on the line. Why? Because legacy doesn't sleep. And one win over a reigning champion could change the way we think about age and greatness in this sport. The risk is real. No matter how legendary he is, time doesn't spare anyone. He'll enter that ring slower. Maybe less durable. Certainly with less momentum. But if history has shown us anything, it's this: Pacquiao doesn't just survive when he's counted out, that's when he thrives. He's not returning to prove anything to fans. He's returning because, in his mind, this isn't the end. It's the unfinished chapter he's ready to write one more time, under the bright lights of Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao isn't just a legend. He's boxing mythology brought to life. 62 wins. 8 weight divisions. 26 knockouts. He wasn't supposed to dominate featherweights, let alone welterweights. But time and again, Pacquiao broke logic, carving up names like Barrera, Morales, Cotto, and Thurman with footwork so fast it looked like CGI. Still, this isn't 2010. This is 2025. And reality doesn't care about legends. When Pacquiao last fought in 2021, he didn't look washed. But he didn't look like Pacquiao either. Yet Dennis Yugas wasn't better. He was younger, fresher, sharper. And that was enough. Pacquiao took the loss with grace. But it was clear his timing had dulled. His reflexes slowed. Now, 4 years later, can that same fighter come back stronger? Even the greatest slow down, Ali, Leonard, Roy Jones. Greatness doesn't beat the clock. It only delays it. Pacquiao's speed once made him untouchable, a blur too fast to track. But now, the question isn't about what he was. It's whether that speed still matters when his legs don't move like they used to. And it's not just physical. It's the rhythm. The instincts. The timing that only repetition can sharpen. Ring rust isn't about cardio. It's about milliseconds, the space between landing clean or getting caught. For years out of the ring doesn't just dull reflexes. It rewires how you move and react. Against someone like Barrios, who's younger, sharper, and in rhythm, that's not a warm-up. It's a risk zone. But this is where the story could flip. Pacquiao has never relied on youth or brute strength. He wins with movement, angles, pressure, and chaos disguised as rhythm. He doesn't slug it out. He drowns you in volume, bursts and feints you never saw coming. If that instinct, that sixth sense for timing and space, is still intact, then even at 46, he might be too much for a fighter like Barrios, who's never shared a ring with someone this unpredictable. Pacquiao doesn't need to be who he was. He just needs to be sharp enough, smart enough, and relentless enough to make Barrios question himself for even one round. And in fights like these, one round is all it takes. Mario El Azteca Barrios isn't stepping into this fight as a placeholder. He's the reigning WBC welterweight champion, with 29 wins, just 2 losses, and the kind of discipline that makes him one of the most focused athletes in the division. At 30, he's entering his prime, tall and rangy, with a stiff jab and a gas tank built for deep waters. He's not flashy, but he's efficient, breaking opponents down round by round. Not by chasing knockouts, but by suffocating them with steady pressure, smart footwork, and calculated aggression. Since moving up to welterweight, he's looked sharper, more composed, and far more patient. The wild, sometimes reckless puncher from his super lightweight days has evolved into a methodical tactician. And right now, he's fighting like a man who understands exactly where he is and exactly where he wants to go. But this challenge is unlike anything Barrios has faced before. He's not fighting a textbook welterweight. He's fighting controlled chaos. Pacquiao doesn't move like anyone else in the division. 1 second he's in front of you, the next he's circling your blind side, unloading a 5-punch flurry from an angle you didn't think existed. That's what makes this fight dangerous. Barrios has never dealt with this kind of pressure, this kind of timing, this kind of unpredictability, especially from a fighter with nothing left to prove and everything left to take. But Barrios isn't walking in blind. He knows the weight of this moment. He's called the fight an honor, but he's not showing up to pay tribute. He's showing up to win. Because beating Pacquiao doesn't just mean keeping your belt, it means rewriting your name into boxing's bigger conversation. It's how you stop being just a champion and start being a star. Mario Barrios has the youth, the power, and the momentum. But all of that only matters if he can survive what's coming. Because now, he has to walk through fire and prove he deserves to share the same sentence as Manny Pacquiao. And few people understand what that fire feels like better than Oscar de la Hoya. In 2008, he stepped into the ring bigger, favored, and decorated. A 6th-division world champion expected to dominate. Instead, he sat on the stool. Broken and silent, unable to continue. Pacquiao didn't just beat him. He dismantled him, systematically and without mercy. So if De La Hoya is telling Barrios to think twice, it isn't trash talk. It's experience talking. It's the voice of someone who knows what it's like to underestimate a man fighting with no pressure, no fear, and absolutely nothing to lose. De La Hoya isn't the only one concerned. Veterans, analysts, and trainers are all saying the same thing. This fight looks winnable for Barrios, but it feels like a trap. Pacquiao doesn't train like a man nearing 50. He trains like a contender. He doesn't enter the ring looking to survive. He enters thinking like a predator. And if his legs hold up for even 6 or 7 rounds, Barrios could find himself in the middle of a storm he's never experienced. Then there's the psychological side. Barrios may be the defending champion, but all eyes are on Pacquiao. This isn't just a title defense. It's a legacy test. And legacy fights carry pressure no sparring session can prepare you for. The crowd will lean Pacquiao. The media will lean Pacquiao. The energy in the arena will lean Pacquiao. And it's in those moments, when everything feels just a little heavier, that hesitation begins. Even Barrios' own camp isn't underestimating Pacquiao. They've made it clear he's preparing for war, not a farewell tour. Because deep down, they know, if Pacquiao shows up at even 70% of what he once was, this won't be a routine defense. It'll be survival. And when legends step in with nothing to lose and everything to prove, the script tends to flip in ways no one sees coming. That isn't hype. That's the voice of experience echoing from corners that have felt what it's like to face a fighter the world thought was finished. Inside Pacquiao's camp, the energy isn't nostalgic, it's calculated. No one's pretending this is the same fighter who dismantled Margarito or outclassed Thurman. But they're not relying on the past. They're engineering a version of Pacquiao built for precision over pace, control over chaos. His longtime trainer, Buboy Fernandez, has been direct: "We're not here for a payday. We're here to win." They've broken down Barrios' rhythm, studied the jab, mapped his patterns. The strategy is simple: disrupt his tempo, force resets, and attack the long torso with those sharp combinations Pacquiao still throws cleaner than most. This isn't about dominating for 12 rounds. It's about controlled bursts, well-timed traps, and footwork that doesn't overwhelm but unbalances. Pacquiao isn't sparring for nostalgia. He's training with younger, taller partners who replicate Barrios' size and style. Not to relive his past, but to prepare for the present. The focus now isn't on pure speed. It's timing, conditioning, and shot selection. He knows he won't win every round, and he doesn't need to. He just needs to place the right punches at the right moments, in front of the right judges. Fernandez addressed the doubters directly, saying, "They think Manny is done. They're wrong. We're not doing this for fun. We're doing this for history." That alone tells you exactly what kind of fight they're expecting and what kind of statement they're trying to make. They're not chasing perfection. They're chasing one clean win. And in a sport where a single round can shift the entire scorecard, Pacquiao's team believes he still has 3 or 4 great ones left. When Manny Pacquiao announced he was stepping back into the ring, the internet exploded: Twitter, YouTube, forums, you name it. Some fans were overjoyed, others stunned, and many genuinely concerned. In the Philippines, his global fanbase rallied instantly, calling it one final shot at greatness. But critics weren't far behind. Reckless, they said. Too old. Too risky. Because Mario Barrios isn't a part-time opponent, he's a live, hungry champion. The reactions split fast. And that divide between belief and doubt? That's exactly what makes this fight so magnetic. There's no trash talk, no staged press conference meltdown, no flying chairs. Just a pure, dangerous fight between a legend chasing one last crown and a champion ready to define his era. Hardcore fans are analyzing every training clip. Casuals who haven't watched in years? They're circling July 19th. Because whether you believe Pacquiao can win, or think he'll get dropped by the 4th round, you're watching. That's the power of Pacquiao. He brings hope, nostalgia, and danger all at once. And Barrios knows it. He's not just fighting a man. He's fighting a moment. If Pacquiao pulls this off, if he beats Mario Barrios, it won't just be a comeback. It'll be a shockwave. He wouldn't just be back. He'd be the oldest man ever to win the WBC welterweight title. A 46-year-old champion in a division built to chew up young contenders. Comebacks in boxing aren't rare, but real ones? in legit title fights? They are. Pacquiao isn't chasing memories. He's chasing a belt. And if he wins, the entire welterweight landscape changes overnight. Think about it. Barrios, the reigning champ, loses his belt to a semi-retired icon. And suddenly, guys like Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr., even Crawford and Spence want in. The calls for matchups would be deafening. Pacquiao might have to defend. And if he does, this wouldn't just be a one-night return. It'd be a campaign. A movement. The narrative would take off in Yuga's rematch? Whispers of Mayweather 2? The hype machine would go into overdrive. But this isn't just about belts or pay-per-view buys. If Pacquiao wins, it sends a message to every fighter over 35 who's been told they're finished. It says experience, heart, and timing still matter. It's legacy. He's already a Hall of Famer. Already a global icon. But a win here doesn't just add to his story, it rewrites what we think is possible in boxing. We talk about Brady winning in his 40s, LeBron aging like fine wine, but this? This would be boxing's ultimate age-defying moment. Of course, that's the dream scenario. The risk? It's very real. Barrios, on paper, has every advantage: youth, height, momentum, the belt. But paper doesn't fight. Pressure does. And Barrios is about to feel more of it than ever. He's not just defending a title. He's doing it against a living legend in front of a crowd that will erupt every time Manny lands. Even if Barrios wins a round, one clean Pacquiao flurry can flip the entire building. That's pressure you can't simulate in sparring. Barrios isn't naive. He knows this is high risk, high reward. Beat Pacquiao, and you don't just defend your belt, you become a star. But if he hesitates? If he lets the moment feel bigger than the man? Pacquiao will capitalize. Because no matter his age, Manny never lost the one weapon that defines him: timing. Then there's the weight of expectation. Barrios is supposed to win. He's expected to close the book on a legend. And in boxing, when the world expects dominance, there's no praise for barely scraping by, only criticism if you fall short. So yes, Barrios should be worried. Not because Manny is who he was in 2009. But because even this Pacquiao, with one perfect shot, can still shake the world. Barrios isn't just fighting Manny. He's fighting the myth. The shadow. The roar of history. July 19th isn't just a fight night. It's legacy versus momentum. Old school versus new wave. A warning to anyone who thinks greatness fades quietly. Pacquiao didn't return for applause. He came back to remind everyone real champions don't retire. They wait. So here's the real question: is Barrios truly ready? Or is he walking into the same storm that swallowed so many before him? Drop your predictions in the comments. Will youth prevail? Or will legacy strike again? And if you want the full breakdown, live updates, and post-fight analysis, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us ringside. Because some punches don't just land, they echo through history. This is Knockout Pulse.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated.